Day 9. The house that wisdom built. The storm had been raging for hours, rattling the windows of the small cottage at the edge of town. Inside, Amelia stood at her kitchen table, tracing her fingers along the rough grain of the wood. The weight of her choices pressed against her chest like the thick summer air before a downpour. She had spent years building this home, not just the walls, but the life within them. Every decision, every sacrifice had been a brick laid with care. And yet, with one foolish move, she had almost torn it all down. It had started with an argument. A foolish, prideful dispute with her husband, Daniel. A misunderstanding that had festered because neither of them had been willing to yield. She had always prided herself on being strong, independent. But was she wise? That was the real question. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. The wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands, the foolish one tears hers down. Proverbs 14 verse 1. She sighed, running a hand through her hair. What had she done to build? Had she trusted? Had she spoken wisely? Had she sought wise counsel? As she reflected, she realized she had neglected the very foundations of wisdom. The 7 pillars of wisdom. 1. Trust. She had stopped trusting Daniel's heart and, more importantly, she had stopped trusting God. Instead, she had let doubt whisper lies in her ear. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3 verse 5. 2. Integrity. She had let pride cloud her judgment, unwilling to admit she was wrong. A wise woman was honest with herself and others. 3. Purity, not just in action, but in thought and speech. Her words had been sharp, cutting through love like a blade. 4. Generosity. She had withheld grace from Daniel, though she expected it from him. True wisdom was generous, not just with material things, but with forgiveness. 5. Diligence. It was easy to let resentment grow, to neglect the hard work of love. But wisdom required diligence in building, even when it was easier to tear down. 6. Wise words. How often had she spoken without thinking? Proverbs 15 verse 1 reminded her, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. 7. Wise counsel. Had she sought advice from the right sources? Had she listened to God's voice or only her own frustrations? A sudden knock at the door shook her from her thoughts. When she opened it, Daniel stood there, soaked from the rain, looking as weary as she felt. "Can we talk?" he asked. She nodded, stepping aside. As they sat across from each other at the kitchen table, Amelia took a deep breath. "I was wrong," she said simply. Daniel exhaled, relief flickering in his eyes. "So was I." Silence settled between them, not the cold, bitter kind that had filled the house lately, but something softer. Something hopeful. "I don't want to tear this down," Amelia admitted. "I want to build." Daniel reached for her hand. "Then let's build together." That night, as the storm outside faded, Amelia realized something. Strength wasn't just standing up for yourself. It was knowing when to kneel, when to listen, when to rebuild. As she bowed her head to pray, she whispered the words of James 1 verse 5, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." And as she looked at the man she loved, she knew wisdom had saved her house from ruin. She smiled. "I can do this. No sweat." Amelia, a strong yet prideful woman, finds herself on the verge of destroying her marriage due to a heated argument with her husband, Daniel. As she reflects on her choices, she realizes she has neglected the 7 pillars of wisdom: trust, integrity, purity, generosity, diligence, wise words, and wise counsel. Recognizing her mistakes, she humbles herself, seeks reconciliation, and chooses to build rather than tear down. Through wisdom, love, and faith, she and Daniel repair their relationship, proving that true strength lies not in pride but in humility and grace. Wisdom is more than just knowledge, it is the ability to apply it with humility, love, and purpose. Are you building or tearing down with your words, choices, and actions? In relationships, careers, and personal growth, the difference between success and ruin often lies in whether we choose wisdom or pride. True strength is not in standing alone but in knowing when to trust, when to yield, and when to build. It's a good day to have a good day, or at least fake it till lunch. Then it becomes really realistic and foolproof for God's magic to work in your day. Inspired by God's 7 pillars of wisdom, all praise to God. Authored by Garry Conan Doyle. In worship of God's wonderful glory.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you're still here, something in this story or song clicked with you. So here's a little secret. When you hit thumbs up, it tells the YouTube gremlins, hey, more of this. And if you subscribe, it's like saying, yeah, I want in. So go ahead, tap like, hit subscribe, and make sure you don't miss what's next. Because this ride, it's just getting started.